Hey, what's going on guys, my name is Sahan and in this video to I will show you how to create this mark in Blender. So this is too easy and let's jump into tutorial. So first delete this default cube, it's no need and you know what's for.
Oh no, don't delete it, how will I ever see it again?
Press keyboard shift A, mesh and cylinder and add cylinder to use him. Then I press keyboard shift S, insert to scale a little bit like this. So now I'm gonna move this to the correct portion on the grid. After that I'm going to edit mode and I insert this face and again insert this edge because it's working like a something subborder.
I'm a supporter.
So now I'm gonna press GZ to create hole on this cup and I add loop cuts maybe 16 or 15. So anyway, you need to add loop cuts around this gap. Now we need to select faces to exclude our handle, and I select these 4 faces in this 2 vertical area. So this is not 100% symmetrical, but you have to keep a perfect gap and it can get perfect render image. And I press EX to exclude these faces on x-axis and I again exclude it because it's our bending edge, and I rotate it RY y-axis and same as the bottom handle. So let me show you how to connect these faces each other's like a bridge. So I'm go to H, bridge loops, boom,
Boom, boom, boom!
it's connected. So we need to so look at that, it's a something non-smooth mode. So we need to fix this and don't panic, I have an option. So I go to modifiers and I go to add subdivision surface modifier and I increasing level 3. So your computer speed affects to your render levels, so I recommend you using level 3 or 2 maybe. And don't forget to right click shade smooth, it will automatically applies smooth shaders on our faces, but we have little problems. Look at that, this modifier destroyed our corners and constant radius.
But it's okay.
We need to fix this. So first I explain why it's happened. So this subdivision surface modifier split faces, so it will giving a smooth appearance, so it's don't care corners and we need to fix manually. So I go to edit mode and I press Ctrl R, add loop cuts on these corners. So you need to add very close to the target edge to get a sharp corner. And I update this mesh and I fix all corners, edges to get right model. And I select this bottom face and I bevel this edge. So now let me adjust this handle and I select these faces. I move to get correct position and it's going to be a good, and that's it. We created this mark and finally let's make this. So I'm going to edit mode, add a loop cuts from here and it's our liquid level limit. I select all of these faces inside our edge and I press shift D to duplicate this selected mesh, but it's the same mesh and it's not separated, and I press P to separate these selected faces on our duplicated selection. So now I'm gonna turn off our mark because we need to clearly our liquid. After I select this edge and I press keyboard F to fill this hole. So now I add another loop cuts to shape this corner.
Alright, I gotta run.
So finally we created our liquid mesh and it good to me, and I turn on my mark and I press shift A to add plane because it's gonna raise shadow. So now I change render engine to cycles and I change the device to GPU compute. If you have a CPU you must do that. So finally I go into rendering mode and so it's look like this and it's almost fine. And we need to add materials, so I go to shade editor. So first I split the screen like this and now I go to shade editor and I click this new button and you get these nodes, and this is a basic principle BF node and material output node. So and I decrease roughness to 0 and I increase in transmission to 1, and you know transmission basically allow light through the surface and like a water and glass, and the same thing in this Blender. So now I select our liquid mesh and I go to new material. So now I change a color to red, something like a T, and I set roughness to 0 and I increase in transmission to 1. So now we have one issue.
No! No!
Basically Blender have face orientation problems.
No!
So when it can't determine which side of mesh should be the outside, so blender flip faces the wrong direction, and we need to recalculate these faces to fix this issue. And I go to viewport overlays and I turn on face orientation, and we can see our problem. So we need to recalculate these faces, and I press shift N. So first you go to edit mode and then select all faces. Now press shift N. So I'm going to rendering mode and I turn off face orientation, and now you can see our T looks like amazing. And I'm going to add wood parts to this mark, but I didn't have this idea before, so I selected top faces of this mark and I separated this selected mesh, and I right click, I go to set origin to geometry, and basically this option moves to origin to center of the object. Now I'm gonna add wood parts to our mark handle. So I select face ring and I press Ctrl plus, and it will be repeating this process and upward and downward. So now I'm separated this selected mesh, and same as the before. So now I'm go to modifiers and add solidify modifier, and it will give this mesh to some thickness. So now you can see this mesh is now solid. So now I'm gonna add bevel modifier, because this bevel modifier bevels edges and it will give some smooth appearance. So you can change these values fixed to your object. So now we done our modeling part, and we need to add materials to this wood part. So I download this wood texture in my SL Studio website, and link in the description, and check out. So now this texture package has 4 different texture types. First this color map, displacement map, normal map, and roughness map. So these textures work in different ways, so let me show you how it works. And first I add this color map to our node editor, and I plug into base color. It's a bit, but it doesn't look like a wood, and that's because we haven't added textures like a roughness. Now I'm gonna move to viewport shading. So now I select our color texture, and I press Ctrl T, and it can get texture coordinate and mapping node. So so I'm gonna drag this roughness texture to our node editor, and I plug into roughness. So now plug mapping output into roughness vector input, but it nothing changed, and I decrease the metallic, and now you can see it has a wooden look. So now I'm gonna change my environment lighting setup, colors, environment, texture, and I change my custom environment lighting setup. I load this HDR to this setup, and you can see it's a completely realistic light. And we have 2 more texture maps. In this time we don't need displacement map. I use normal map instead, and I drag this normal map into our shade editor. Now I'm gonna search bump map to get a little bumping effect, and I plug height value to our image texture, and I plug this output to normal map, and you can see it has little bumpy effect, and we can change this value to change our bumpy height. And I press Ctrl T to get texture coordinate and mapping node, and it can change scale, and I set scale to 5. So now you can see it's more delightful. And I selected this glass material. I'm gonna make it more bit realistic. So I downloaded this image texture on Google, link in the description, you can download it. So now I drag this map into shade editor. Now I add bump node, and I connect it into height, and I connect this normal output to normal input in principal BFDF. So now I decrease this strange to maybe 0.3, and it's look good.
Yeah, those look good to me.
So now I selected T, and I add into volume abstraction node. So I connect into volume, and I decrease this value to darken value.
It's dark in here,
so it can get more weightless or T effect. So after that I selected bottom face of our mark, and I drag right this, because our T mesh doesn't fit our mark. So I pull down this mesh to correct version of the mark. So it look like this.
You look like you're alive.
So now I'm gonna select our plane, and I change color to like a gray color. So now I scale up this plane to cover our full frame. Now I turn on shadow catcher, and it will bring only shadows of our plane. So now we need to remove our background. I go to rendering properties, film, transparent, and it will remove our background. So now you can render this mug, and after you can add background colors, background images, and this is a completely transparent. You can change anything, but we need to use external software like Photoshop. In this case, I will teach you how to make it in Blender.
Oh, and do you know that we're composting now?
It's a compositing, so we're gonna compositing this frame in Blender using Blender compositing nodes. So this is the exciting part in this tutorial.
This is very exciting.
So now I'm gonna render this frame. This is not final render, we need preview image to build our composite. So now I'm going to compositing tab, and I click this use nodes, and I add viewer node. So this viewer node helps to preview our render image, and I search alpha overnode and I connect into compositing and viewer node. So now you can see it's a white color, so we need to this white to our background. So now I switch this image inwards. Now you can see it's gone to background. So I decreasing this value to darken value, so
It's dark in here.
so finally we created our mug and mug background. So thanks for watching, guys, and if you like this video, share to others.
Hey babe, I'd like to share my thoughts on love.
See you in the next video, and thank you so much.
I love you guys.